we will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately.
Health experts have long used contact tracing to stop epidemics like Ebola, and they're trying to use it to stop COVID-19. But getting already suspicious Americans to cooperate so that it works effectively will be tough. The CDC even gives contact tracing the creepy term of public health surveillance. Using either Bluetooth or location services on your phone, contact tracing apps record who we've been in contact with in case people nearby have COVID-19. Nations like Singapore are already using it.
Get peace of mind for you and your family through community-driven contact tracing.
Now, House Bill 6666. The COVID-19 Testing, Reaching, and Contacting Everyone or TRACE Act would give $100 billion to local organizations to help with testing and contact tracing by funding door-to-door outreach. Contrary to what some believe, it does not allow anyone to enter your home or allow the government to remove anyone from your home because of coronavirus.
This woman is being scolded for being outside without a face mask and was chased back into her home. These people are being admonished for hanging out in a group. They were all caught by Chinese authorities who've been deploying drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and loudspeakers. It's one part of China's massive surveillance strategy to tackle the spread of the coronavirus, which has reached just about every region in the country. The virus has infected more than 80,000 in China, resulting in the deaths of more than 2,000 people in the country, far surpassing the death toll from SARS.
The difference between 2003 and 2020, is really enormous in terms of the government's reliance on and development of surveillance technology. Almost none of these tools were on offer at that time.
Sophie Richardson is the China director at Human Rights Watch. She says during this public health crisis, China is embarking on an unprecedented use of surveillance by using big data and its citizens. So what exactly is China's surveillance strategy, and can it work to battle the epidemic? There are an estimated more than 300 million surveillance cameras in China, and authorities are using them to monitor Chinese citizens.
Many of the surveillance cameras in use in China now are equipped with facial recognition capabilities, which simply gives the authorities the ability to track who specifically has gone to which precise location.
Combine that with data scraped from hospital records, police files, and public transportation history. All that is stored and linked to national ID cards, which gives the Chinese government granular information about all its citizens. In January, a man who tested positive for the coronavirus used public buses and subways to crisscross China's eastern city of Nanjing. The police posted his journey with specific dates and times on social media, with a warning that anyone who is in that area get tested for the virus. China's public health authorities have been candid about the use of big data during this public health crisis.
They
even developed a mobile phone app called the Close Contact Detector. The app has a database of people who have tested positive or have symptoms. So as soon as you type in your name and national ID and log in, the app will tell you if you've ever come into close contact with someone who tested positive, or if you're in the clear. So far, more than 200 million people have used the app.
These new and different uses of technology around the coronavirus may help resolve some of the public health concerns, but it's also another way for the government to gather large amounts of information about people really effectively without their consent, and in some cases without even their knowledge.
Chinese health officials say all this data is in the pursuit of controlling the epidemic.
第一呢，我们可以更进一步的摸清底数。第二呢，我们也可以说，我们把这个对相关部门，尤其是我们基层部门的工作呢，提供一些指导。
But could the government legally force us to take an app on our phones? Professor Brad Jacobs, a constitutional expert at Regent University, says no.
We do have protections against searches and seizures by the government. The Supreme Court just a couple years ago ruled that the government can't use pings off of cell towers to tell them where someone is without getting a warrant first.
But could the government restrict your freedom if you don't use a contact tracing app? Maybe.
Supreme Court has long held that no rights are absolute. The government can override a constitutional right, at least for a short period, if it can show what we call a compelling state interest.
Michael Doherty, the CEO of LabMD, a medical testing lab who's been fighting federal overreach in his industry for years, is the author of The Devil Inside the Beltway, and he calls a tracing app Big Brother.
It's a huge excuse to give the government more information. And as we're seeing with who infiltrates our government, they will violate our rights and violate anyone's rights for political gain.
The notion that Americans will cooperate voluntarily with a contact tracing app seems to be dead on arrival. A recent poll showed less than a third of Americans would participate in tracing if it's run by the federal government. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people. It literally is killing people. And we the people, are waking up, and we know what citizen's arrest is, because citizen's arrests are already happening, okay? And every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity. Every single one of you have a smirk behind that little mask, but every single one of you are going to get punished by God. You cannot escape God. You cannot escape God. I'm gonna say that again. You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet. Okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military protocol. You're trying to get the people to train them, so when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're gonna scan everybody. We gotta get scanned, we gotta get temperatured. The kids have to go to school with masks. Are you insane? Are you crazy? I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now, because none of you know what the hell you are all talking about. This is insane. And then you want to open this meeting with a prayer to God. Are you praying to the devil? Because God is not listening to that prayer, because all of you are practicing the devil's laws. What happened to Bill Gates? Why is he not in jail? Why is Hillary Clinton not in jail? Why are all of these pedophiles that are demanding you all to listen to their rules, why are they not in jail? Oh, is it because you're part of them?
Of smartphone apps available that help parents track down their children. Now, a number of products are targeting little kids on the market. 8 on your side's Meredith Sasulu is taking a look at those trackers for tots.
That heart-stopping moment, you turn around and your child is gone, but new technology is helping you keep tabs on your kids. Every parent knows the panic. You turn for an instant and your child is gone. It's happened to Rachel Simigo.
Yes, I'm usually yelling for her and freaking out, but luckily it's never been for more than like a minute or two.
Even veteran law enforcement officers like former Tampa Chief of Police Jane Castor have had it happen.
For my particular instance, in a restaurant at Disney, and your children are standing next to you, and all of a sudden you look over and they're not there. That just sheer panic, and your motherly instincts take over.
Now, improved GPS technology with increased cellular enhancement make it possible to track indoors. A number of companies market small, kid-friendly trackers like watches and backpack tags. Some have geofencing and SOS buttons. Features that could be useful to Semigo, who has a precocious 6-year-old.
She's never been lost, but she has hidden from me on purpose because she does think it's fun to get in the clothes rack at the store or to run off because she sees a Christmas tree or a blow-up item or something like that.
The product's features and costs vary. Some require subscriptions, but law enforcement pros admit they can be useful tools to help parents have as much information as possible.
There's no harm in the tracking, especially if you're in a situation where you aren't able to be with your child on a continual basis.
Battery life for many of the products currently on the market is a day or two, but new products rolling out later this year promise to last up to a week on one charge. Meredith Sensulo, News Channel 8.
Farming has been the driving force of our civilization for centuries, but with an ever-growing population and the increasing impact farming has on our environment, we need to keep innovating the way in which we feed the world. Take the Australian outback. One of the biggest challenges cattle farmers face every day is the sheer amount of distance between them and their animals. Driving 2.5 hours to check on cattle is no exception. To help Australian cattle farmers monitor their cattle from great distance, Rabobank, a global leader in agricultural financing, started Movement.
With Movement, we have the ambition to track and trace cattle in the Australian outback.
At the heart of Movement is the ear tag, a long-range, low-power node that transmits the cow's location, giving all sorts of valuable insights, like location alerts when a cow has broken a fence, or when a bull is looking for opportunities in a paddock it's not supposed to be in, but also the ability to analyze movement patterns to see where a herd has grazed in order to make better infrastructural decisions. And by looking at a cow's movement, we even believe we can see when it's going to be fertile. By working closely with Australian cattle farmers, the Movement team has discovered which solutions fulfill their most important needs.
It's given us a taste of what this technology can do.
Saving you time, money, and looking after your animals in a more humane way.
Movement, driving the production of our food into a new era.
In China, many people probably have not developed that kind of awareness in terms of protecting the privacy, protecting their civil liberties.
Yanzhang Huang studies global health at the Council on Foreign Relations in the U.S. He says many in China want this type of monitoring because it's about life or death.
And when they were given the choices of protecting their health and protecting their civil liberties, probably would choose the former, even to the detriment of the latter.
Huang says increasing population control during a health crisis can be a slippery slope.
This widespread use of surveillance technologies may also encourage the use of the same technologies, surveillance techniques, even after the outbreak, for purposes may not be really justifiable.
People are also a big part of its surveillance apparatus. After all, President Xi Jinping said the fight against the virus was a people's war. Authorities send out text messages telling people to go directly to authorities if they come from Hubei province, where the coronavirus first emerged. And announcements are posted all around town encouraging everyone to monitor each other. Police patrol streets, telling people without face masks to go home. Some managers of apartment complexes go door to door to check on residents' health conditions.
This is, may sort of suggest this revival of this Cultural Revolution era when you saw this people monitor, their neighbors, even their relatives.
Some provinces have started giving an incentive to monitor family members' travel histories and health. In Sichuan province in western China, snitching can snag you as much as 5,000 yuan. That's roughly equivalent to a monthly salary that's more than minimum wage. One government in Guangdong province is offering 30 face masks in exchange for snitch reports. During this public health crisis, China hasn't been the only country to use technology to track patients. In South Korea, health authorities are legally allowed to sift through credit card records, CCTV footage, and mobile phone locations to pin down the travel histories of those infected or at risk. That information is then shared with the public. In China's surveillance state, Not only do authorities have access to more data than other governments, but citizens have no way to opt out of that data collection. Beijing says all this is in the best interest of the public.
We'll have to be able to see how the virus ultimately played out, who was affected, who wasn't, whether the surveillance technology helped.
Monday at 11.
It happens in seconds. Your child wanders off and panic sets in. But what if you had an extra layer of security inside your child?
If it'll save my kid, there's no step that's too extreme.
The technology is here, but just how far would you go to keep your kids safe? Parents are divided.
I just think that implanting something under their skin would not be okay.
If a small chip the size of a grain of rice could have prevented a tragedy, I think most parents, hindsight would have said, I wish I would have done it.
But our expert insists putting this technology in place is just a matter of time.
It could save a life, reunite a family, find a missing Alzheimer's patient.
Todd Westby, along with 50 employees, implanting microchips the size of a grain of rice between their forefingers and thumbs, allowing them to unlock doors at work, even pay for snacks with the swipe of a hand. There are some reservations.
There's always the fear of infection, so it's the unknown right now.
Another concern? Employee privacy.
What did it take to persuade the holdouts?
Basically, we had to explain to them there's no tracking of the information. It's not GPS or anything like that.
Participation is optional, and many of the employees here say they're more curious than nervous.
I think it's kind of cool. Just pop it up there and it'll work.
And our chief business and economics correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, with us now. Rebecca, analysts are telling you this is not just this Wisconsin company. This is actually a debate about the future and where this could go from here.
Exactly, David. Industry experts forecast we could see these chips used by hospitals to store our medical records, even at airports to store that passport information. And that is just the beginning, David.
Eprodermic is an innovative needle-free device for the intradermal vaccination of pigs, being the first and the unique needle-free device that automatically recognizes the vaccine and traces the vaccination process. As a needle-free device, Eprodermic works by precisely ejecting 0.2 ml of vaccine at high speed and pressure to penetrate the skin without the use of a needle. The ejection of the vaccine by Eprodermic is divided into 3 different pressure stages, requiring a total time of less than 100 milliseconds. This consistent pressure profile ensures a homogeneous process where each animal is vaccinated exactly at the same tissue depth. Vaccination with Eprodermic is very simple, as all functions are automatic or performed by just pressing the menu button. Its balanced design and long-lasting batteries give a non-stop autonomy of more than 2,000 animals for a full day's work. Thanks to the direct recognition of the vaccine by just introducing the vial, Eprodermic will start the priming and loading of the dose of vaccine. To avoid air intake, the different vial sizes are securely fixed by a vial clip. No tubes or extensors need to be used. The injection is easily performed by pressing the injector head against the pig's skin. No trigger needs to be pulled. The injector head can be blocked to avoid accidental injections. Once the injection is given, the smart load sensor of Eprodermic will ensure the correct loading of the next dose, taking into account the amount of liquid left in the vial. The pending doses left in the vial can be controlled at any time. Once the vaccination is finished, the cleaning is done automatically by introducing Eprodermic rinsing fluid. Eprodermic is the only needle-free device in the swine industry that is able to give full and automatic traceability of the vaccination process, thanks to the smart vaccination concept. Smart vaccination is a revolutionary concept based on the RFID chip in the vaccines, connecting with Eprodermic and the application EproLink. With smart vaccination, you will have more control of your vaccination sessions with information that will guarantee and certify that the vaccination procedure was conducted successfully. Epra is the pioneer in animal health, offering you this groundbreaking concept and applying the Internet of Things in the vaccination of animals.
This is General William Sullivan with an emergency message. I'm speaking to you from a CDC clean zone. Outbreak of the deadly Pandora virus is spreading rapidly. Unprecedented threat requires a worldwide quarantine. All ships must remain at sea until further. Humanity must endure.
A virus? Stop all the shit! What should we do?
They're buying it. They're buying it. Chillingly plausible indeed, Joe Morgenstern of the Wall Street Journal. There is no virus.